Hello, everyone. I want to talk a little bit about Pesach this time because, well, it's coming up really soon. And Pesach is the Hebrew word for Passover, which means being passed over, being passed over were the Jews during the Passover, during the plagues. And I don't want to tell you the story. I'm sure that you've heard the story or you will hear the story. I want to talk about the book that we use on the Leil HaSeder, on the night of the Seder when we actually celebrate Passover, which is this book, Haggadah shel Pesach. Haggadah means, it comes from the word lehagid, to tell, and it tells the story of Passover. Now, the word Seder actually has a meaning, and the meaning is order. And it's called Seder because there is a specific order to the night of the celebration. There are different kinds of religious affiliation in the Jewish community. You have the Mizrahi, you have the Ashkenazi. They have slightly different ways of celebrating, but the idea is basically the same. There's a specific order to what you're supposed to do during that night. The book will tell you exactly what to do. The books are not always the same. The Ashkenazi book is a little bit different than the Mizrahi book, and also it depends on whether or not you want to do the songs. If you are not the kind of family that does songs traditionally during the Seder, you will get a book that doesn't include the songs. Not all the books are the same. Some books are actually, lately there have been a lot of books that were made specifically for children. Children have to sit through Seder, which is a very long time. And so the books were made more child-friendly. Like, for example, there's a comic book Seder book. There are cartoon Seder books, but like I don't have those on hand, so I'm not going to show it to you. Trust me, there are. But the idea is always the same. It will tell you what to do every step of your Seder. Some books, like this one, will also tell you what to do before you start your Seder. Like, for example, let me just see here. This book starts with a little bit of background about what Seder is, what the Haggadah tells you, and why we do it. And then it goes on to tell you what you should be preparing before actually coming to the point of Leil HaSeder, of the night of the Seder. So it tells you how to look for chametz, to clean your house. It tells you how to get rid of chametz. Here they tell you that you should burn it, but a lot of people actually donate it to those who are not Jewish and do not keep kosher for Passover. And there's a little bit of what you should prepare, and the little prayers, the prayers that you say prior to the actual Seder. It also tells you the four minim. One of the differences is, like, this book will actually tell you that there's a different way of choosing your minim. Minim are the 5 special things that you eat during Passover. The one that's called chaoset, so it can be made out of several things as long as it's kind of sweet and kind of brown. It doesn't have to be specifically, well, every family have their own recipe, and it could be store-bought, it could be homemade, it doesn't really matter. There's certain qualifications for it to be chaoset. Karpas also can be definitely several things. It can be celery, it can be parsley, it can be boiled potatoes. Most kindergartners in Israel bring boiled potatoes to the kindergarten Seder. They also bring chasa, which is a leaf of a salad. Of course, you need the matzah. You actually need exactly 3 pieces of matzah to be placed under your plate, just like on this picture. For the future ceremonies, you will need to drink 4 glasses of wine, plus an extra glass of wine for Eliyahu Hanavi. It tells you that the Zoa can be several things. Zroa can be the chicken wing. It could be a chicken leg. It can actually be a lamb's bone. Not really important. It's according to the tradition that your family is used to. Maror is a bitter herb. A bitter herb, this is where the chasa comes in. A bitter herb can be any herb that is bitter. So it has like a little bit of what you should prepare before, and it has the things that you need to be doing before Leila Seder begins. It has the mitzvahs that you have to do before actually coming to the point of Leila Seder, and the things that you need to prepare. And then the actual word starts. This is the actual story. What is in a Haggadah? So, like I said, there's two components that are, well, one component that is completely always have to do be there, which is the story of the Exodus, the story of why we celebrate Passover, starting with Moses's birth and childhood, and ending with him bringing the Jewish people to the Promised Land. Not all the books have songs in them, because several affiliations, several traditions say that you don't have to do the songs. Some people choose not to do the songs, but this book does have songs, and the songs have a certain seder, they have a certain order, because the songs are directly related to the part of the story that you're telling at that point. So, like for example, you're starting your seder, and then you start talking about what is different about this night, the traditions of Passover. And so the song is Manishtana, what is different about this night? And you say that tonight we eat things made out of wheat and flour, but today we only eat matzah. We eat all kinds of vegetables normally, but today we eat specific vegetables, and so on. Normally we sit up straight at the table, but this night we have to sit in a reclining position, and this is what the first song will tell you. And then you start with the story of Egypt, of, well, how it all started. And what's the next? Let me get to the next song. This is so this book has a very long version of the story. It has both Hebrew and English translations, and it's not trying to be very children friendly. It's the story in its original form. Also, the actual pictures in the book are not trying to be very friendly to children. We have the 10 plagues, very graphically described here. And then some more songs. So basically we have the Seder of what to do. Here it says that at this point you should be on your second cup of wine. At this point you should be you should be eating a matzah. So it actually tells you, it's basically a step-by-step guide to what you should be doing. So this is one of the versions that I have at home right now. I want to show you another version that I have received. My children are enrolled in the PJ Library program, so this is what we received this year, and it's much more children-friendly kind of Haggadah. And it also has instructions of what you should be preparing, how you should be preparing to the list, a checklist of what you should have by the time you sit down to eat, and what should be on your Seder plate, just like this book. A little bit of background telling you to light the candles like this book did, with the prayer that comes with it, and then it takes you step by step through the Seder. Why am I saying that's more children friendly? Because first of all, the illustrations themselves are more children friendly, and also So here we also have the explanation about each ingredient on the Seder plate, but the story itself is in a much friendlier version. It's shorter, it's more precise, it's in easier words, especially in English, and it's easier for children to understand what's going on there. Also, we have the songs, Manishtana, the same song on the same spot at the same time as this book. So like I said, the Seder, the order of what's gonna happen is the same one. There is one completely children kind of friendly tradition that is actually made for children, I think. And that is the afikoman. Afikoman is, let me find it, is when you hide half of a matzah in a specially prepared kind of pocket, and you hide it around the house before you start everything, and you have your children go around looking for it, sort of like a scavenger hunt for the matzah, and whoever finds it gets a prize, either a little gift or money, and also bragging rights, of course. And the thing is, they put the afikuman hunt, there we go, see, towards the end of the book. See, almost all the book is over. It's towards the end of the night. Why? Because at this point at night, the children have been sitting through like 2, 3, 4 hours of reading the Haggadah and being told exactly what to do. And now it's their time to run around, let go of some energy. And also it kind of keeps them awake through the entire time up to now, because they have something to wait for, because they know the fun is coming. And so it's just to make things more interesting for the kids. Another tradition involving children in the Seder, in the Passover Seder, is the fact that in the beginning, not the very beginning, but like towards the beginning of the Seder, there are 4 questions that we are asking the people sitting at the table, and the person asking those questions is the youngest person at the table, of course, the youngest person who is able to talk. And it kind of makes kids feel more involved and more important, because they get to ask the important questions to the adults, and the adults have to answer them. Let me find this part. This is the Manishtana thing. And this is the Manishtana song. And the 4 questions, there are 4 kinds of children in the Haggadah, 4 banim, 4 sons, and each one represents a different kind of a personality. And we have the wise child that asks questions, we have the rebellious child that challenges us, we have the simple child that asks what's going on, and then we have the quiet child who's just listening to everybody else talking. And every child can identify with one of those characters. So this is what you should expect to find in your Haggadah. Not all the Haggadahs start with the explanation of what to do before and like what to prepare. This is like more user-friendly versions. A lot of Haggadahs just will start immediately with the beginning of Seder. Let's sit down, let's hear the story, let's do this, let's eat the thing, let's dip it in salt water, let's do the song. So they just kind of skip over it. But again, it's up to your family what kind of Haggadah you prefer to purchase and what kind of rule you prefer to follow. But I like the ones that tell you what to do before, first of all, so you don't forget stuff. And also, it's a good way to just go over the beginning, the first couple of pages with your children. And there are easy explanation. I love the checklist in this one. This way, you can go with the kids around the checklist and just go, oh, do we have this? Did we do the Seder plate? Do we have grape juice and wine for the adults? Do we have matzah? Do we have the afikuman bag? Which is actually... it's a great idea to have your children help prepare the afikoman bag. You can make it out of anything. It doesn't even have to be fabric. They can decorate a little square pocket made out of even paper and write the word matzah on it or afikoman, and this way they will know what they're looking for when you hide it, so they don't have to guess which of the folded towels might be your afikoman. So yeah, this is what you should expect to see in your Haggadah. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments.